I don't really recall thinking about legacy when I was a younger person, younger man, even. I think it started certainly having children kind of gave you some of those kind of ideas and those kind of thoughts about their lives and what they would become. But I think more seriously, I began thinking about the idea of my life having a legacy, maybe in my 40s, middle age, and certainly even more as I grew older. We moved down to the Outer Banks in 1986. I had been the youth and music pastor in a church up in Chesapeake that was dying, and uh, and so I needed to go somewhere else. I was the low man on the totem pole, so I was the first staff member to be let go. I was told about a group of people that were here in the Outer Banks that were looking to start a new church. I met with these people and they said, "Come on down, let's start this church." So we did. The church began to grow and do really well in the first 6 months. And then the very people that really had been the core group that said, "Come on down," they disagree with some of the things that I was laying out to them in vision for what kind of church this would be. And so I ended up walking away from them. I spent the next 4 years um, working in construction uh, and picking up whatever odd jobs I could to support my family. And it was very, very difficult. And that was a very dark time, to be honest with you. And I wonder, God, are you through with me? Is my ministry done? You're going to have something else for me to do. I spent a lot of time sitting on a beach access in January in 1987 arguing with God. But I spent 4 years in that period. I call it my wilderness journey. And most of the work that I was doing in those days was down this way. And so it wasn't unusual for me to drive by this property every day. And, uh, and I used to think as I drove by, God, what could you do there? And when I finally got to the place where I said, you know what, God, my life is yours. Do with it whatever you please, and I'll accept it. That's when God said, okay, this little church in Nags said that you've been driving by for years wondering if God could ever do anything with it. I'm going to put you in there. And so once the church asked me to come and be their pastor, then it became an issue of how can I convince this little group of people that God's got a plan for them here. I knew there were some challenges when I came in to get the ball rolling, and you don't. It's like the proverbial snowball coming down the mountain. It starts out really small, but as it goes down, it picks up. Not only does it pick up speed, but it picks up size and material, and it keeps on growing, and that's kind of what needed to happen. Jesus was really steadfast. I think of that verse in the Gospels where he's getting to the end of his ministry, and it says he set his face toward Jerusalem. He knew what was ahead. And he told his disciples, "We're going to Jerusalem. The scribes and the priests and the Pharisees are going to take me. They're going to arrest me. They're going to turn me over to the Gentiles. They're going to beat me and scourge me, and they're going to crucify me." And that's where we're headed. He knew that's what God's called me to do, and he was steadfast to it. And I think steadfastness, when we talk about legacy, I think that's got to be a main component. If our legacy is going to continue, we've got to, and last, we've got to be committed. We've got to be steadfast to our calling. Hopefully what follows my life, my legacy, what impact my life has made, if any, is going to continue on and be a good thing for not only for my family, for my children, for my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren, God willing, but for the people that I've ministered to, the people I've served at Nags Church. I know I have this God who can accomplish anything, and he did amazing things with people in the Bible that you would have thought what losers they were, and look what great things they did.